Yes, I think working. Yeah. I'm doing this on my laptop because I dropped my telephone, my mobile, in the water. Anyway, that's how life goes sometimes. Is it the Mercury retrograde? I don't know. Anyhow, I'm continuing to read out of Lydia, and Lydia is the continuation of Bliss After Life, which, what? What does that mean even? The current frame rate is too low. Please set frame rate to... Okay, I don't even know how to do that. But I'm doing it now. Okay, so I hope I've done this alright. Okay, right, I have been reading up to chapter 17 of Lydia, which is the reincarnation of Alexei, who was a Russian entrepreneur. So as you can see, it's quite involved. We had Polly here, who has continued to write on her book, which has been going on for a long time. And I'm just going to continue here. I have things popping up. So this is still chapter 17, and we are in the midst of talking about the question Susan had been asking, because she was adopted and she knows nothing about her birth mother. Anyway, that was a bit of a shock to Holly, because her sister never talked about it. Anyway, so, and she tells her that she would like to know from Melanie if Mio could maybe put some light onto her background. How lovely that you will see Lydia. I might persuade your dad to drive up on Sunday. We could drive back together on Monday. I'm only working Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday, and I feel we are missing out. Tony was laughing. I don't see why not. I know your mother. We shall not wait for you to arrive to hear Mio talk about Susan. That's a private matter anyway. Don't be silly. I cannot imagine Susan would want to talk about that with everybody sitting around. But please do talk to Melanie about whether Susan can have a chat with her. Yes, Mum, I hear you, and I was only kidding. It would be lovely to see you and Dad here, there. At least you're not always writing. He was laughing when his mum boxed his arm, and I know everybody wants to see Lydia, including this little one. Frida, her dog, had just appeared in the kitchen. She always had a knack of arriving at appropriate moments. Tony picked her up and she settled into his arm. Melanie has a lovely cat. I love cats and dogs. In fact, I love all animals. As if I didn't know Tony, Holly said. When the boys were young, Ben and Tony had travelled to India together with Susan and Steve. It had been a great trip. The boys were around 4 then, and Steve's parents had made them all feeling very welcome in India. Tony and Ben were taking to things so easily, but they wanted to constantly feed all animals and bring them into the house. Always a big fuss. Steve's mum was quite clean and a bit of a clean freak, and they often had to laugh when on their own in their quarters. Do you remember our trip to India when you were little? They had many photos, but she could not remember where she had stored them. Vaguely. Ben and I have talked about it not so long ago. It was funny what different memories we had of that particular time. I think we both remembered looking at the photos with Omi and I. I remember riding on an elephant and having food cooked for us, and that it was very hot. Yes, that's all true. Even I remember better when I look at photos. We had a lovely time, though. Steve did not often go to India to see his parents. Not even sure he has been since then. I know that he ran an antique furniture business for years near Brighton, and then he must have picked up his guitar again. It's funny, he was so familiar to me when we ran into him at the Tycho when I saw him. I'd love to sit with him and find out what he's been up to the last 15 years. She had always got on with Steve. All of them, being young parents, had been great. She was glad, Holly was glad that they had done that trip. Ben was speaking Hindi when he came back for a little while, and then it faded. Does Ben still understand Hindi? Holly was unsure, wondering. Lydia is part Chinese. She would need to learn her mother's tongue. I don't know. I guess Faye will speak to her in her own language, which means she will learn it. Don't you think? Your German is pretty good. He was laughing. Do you think Lydia will speak German too? Mum, now you're getting fanciful. Let the poor child deal with Chinese and English. Hindu and German have to wait. They were both laughing by now. Little Lydia was not even a month old. What possibilities! Indeed, Tony had put his father's spare glasses on and mimicked his gestures. They were into fits of laughter by now. Gosh, I remember telling your dad all about Faye having this dream about Lydia long before she was born, and he had trouble with that. Although he's had some weird dreams himself in his time. The way things are going, this is going to be an interesting year, this 2012. Anyhow, come on, let's eat, dear. I'm hungry now. Do you think Faye's mum will cook delicious Chinese food for us? Holly loved Chinese food, although she was not sure how authentic it all was in their local takeaway, but it had always been one of her favorite foods. They sat down to eat. And continued their conversation, catching up on recent events. I don't know what this is, what I'll come up. Chapter 18. Steve and Silvana. Silvana had persuaded Steve to come to a German restaurant in the southwest of London with her. They'd had a fantastic day. Walking along the Thames with Chap on the lead, they were discussing the food, which had been excellent. Steve liked German food. He did remember dinners at his ex-mother-in-law's in London, and they had been talking about their various experiences with cultures. Silvana had a habit of daily meditation, and Steve was agreeing with her that since he had also started doing that, he found life a little easier to cope with. He sat regularly and quietened his mind. Music in many ways was a meditation for him, and Silvana had found the same over the last few years. Both had had times in their life where that regular tuning inwards had not been on their agenda, and they were glad they found so much in common. With his heritage, she had been wondering if he followed a particular religion. His mother had been quite a devout Hindu, he had said, but it was more about peaceful principles for him. The last few years he had read much of Deepak Chopra's work, Paulo Coelho, and the like, and it felt good that she knew them all. How did you come to know about meditation? Steve was interested. They had still much to find out about each other. I went to a retreat in Oxfordshire with a friend, must be 12 years or so ago, and they actually taught Raja Yoga meditation, and I did a workshop on positive thinking and so on. It was in a beautiful house and lovely grounds, and a good friend of mine, actually you met her briefly, Sabrina, had persuaded me to accompany her as she had heard about this place. Anyhow, it was wonderful. We met lovely people and we learned open-eye meditation. I have been many times since, not for a couple of years though, but it has had its impact on me, and in many ways my life has shifted much since I had been. They discussed each other's favorite writers. She loved Eckhart Tolle and urged him to read The Power of Now. Their conversation flowed, and neither could remember when they were last that happy in someone else's company. Steve was itching to go and visit Ben again, but he knew Faye's parents were on their way. He wanted to fix a weekend soon and wanted to meet the parents of Faye. He had been to China, only once though, for a short trip after his divorce, and he had enjoyed it very much, but it was long ago now, and he suddenly really fancied going again. Later in the year maybe, and he would ask Silvana to come along. She had never been to Asia at all. South America and the USA, but not anywhere in the Far East. His phone rang, and when he saw it was Ben, he answered. "Hello, son. Lovely to hear from you. How is the little one?" "Really good. Thriving, in fact. We were just talking about planning a get-together with Faye's parents. You and Silvana. How about the weekend after next? And you stay a couple of days. We can sort something out with accommodation, and it would be nice to have us all here. We're feeling quite at home at the refuge." "You have never really been here, have you?" No, that all started soon after we were separated, and yes, we would love to. He had looked questioningly at Silvana, who had nodded, as she had heard what he was saying. They were smiling, shaking their heads, as they had long only just been talking about seeing Lydia, when the phone rang. Anyhow, I've got to go, Dad. I just wanted to fix that weekend. Everyone seems to be flapping about here with Don Ying and Confucius arriving. It was a nickname Faye had given her dad when she was quite little. It had been such a long time ago that she had started using it, that it had sort of stuck. And it was funny at the time, no one knew where she had heard that word but it stuck. And although Ben could never address him as such, in his head he was Confucius to him as well. He had told his dad, who thought it was hilarious and had also adopted it. What is his name again? I can't call him that. Lee will do, but we shall do the introductions properly, Dad, and it will be easy. You wait, they're lovely. Yes, I really am looking forward to it. We have been to that German restaurant on the Thames, do you remember? Oh yes, I do. Great. Anyhow, I've got to go. And love to Silvana. Bye, son, and same to you from her. He put his phone away and they kissed. It felt so good to both of them. Let's go home and watch a movie or something, Silvana laughed. Yes, let's. You know, my daughter's coming to visit tonight, don't you? She was expecting Poppy that evening. It was time she introduced Steve to her. So far, it had never worked out, but she was looking forward to it now. Poppy had a new boyfriend and had been so busy. It was really time for a little catching up. This coming weekend, she would be going on her course, and Steve would take Chap to his place, or to hers, depending on how it is all going. They got up and set off to their place near Brighton. I think I stop this here and see whether this worked as it should.